Nuh alayhi salam was born about 10 centuries after Adam alayhi salam. His people had become idol worshippers over the years. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His mercy sent His messenger Nuh alayhi salam to guide His people. Now, Nuh alayhi salam was an excellent speaker and he had a very patient nature. He tried to guide his people by pointing out the wonders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how night and day followed each other. The night gives coolness in moments of rest. The day gives warmth and opportunity to seek provision. He explained to his people there cannot be more than one deity to run the mechanisms of this universe so uniformly. In short, he warned them not to worship idols, otherwise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a terrible punishment to them. So because of his calling, people got divided into two groups. The first group was the one who believed in him, and they were generally the poor and of weak status in the society. But the second group, the rich and the strong, overlooked his warnings and continued their evil ways. In fact, they started to argue back with him. So their argument comes in Surah Hud. فقال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه ما نراك إلا بشرا مثلنا وما نراك اتبعك إلا الذين هم أراذلنا بادي الرأي وما نرى لكم علينا من فضل بل نظنكم كاذبين. So the elites of Nuh alayhi salam, the elites of Nuh's people who had refused to follow him said, we merely consider you a human being like ourselves. Nor do we find among those who follow you except the lowest of us, and they followed you without thinking. We see nothing in you to suggest that you are any better than us. Rather, we believe you to be liars. So they presented two arguments. You're like us, so there's nothing special about you, and you're being followed by poor and worthless people. Of course, Nuh alayhi salam persisted. And after much effort for almost 950 years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala notified him that very few will accept the truth. So Nuh alayhi salam at that point made dua against his people and started to build the ark upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's order. He chose a place outside the city far from the sea to build this ark. And when people saw him building this boat, they started to mock him. They said things like, oh no, does this carpentry appeal to you more than prophethood now? Why are you building an ark so far from the sea? Are you going to drag it to the water or the wind will carry it for you? So Nuh alayhi salam continued with the command of building the ark despite all this mockery. And finally the punishment came in the form of flood. So when the signs of punishment showed, Nuh alayhi salam asked the believers to board the ark with him and took a pair of male and female of every type of animal, bird, and insect. So in the end, all of his people died except those who joined him on his ark. There are different opinions about how many people believed in Nuh alayhi salam. Ibn Abbas has stated that there were about 80 people, while Ka'b al-Ahbar held that there were about 72 believers, and there are others who claim that there were only 10 believers with Nuh alayhi salam. So this is the brief story of the nation of Nuh alayhi salam.